All right, green-black rock, green-black stompy, whatever you want to call it. I relabeled this to stompy from the rock deck we had yesterday, even though it's not that many cards different, because I changed a couple of things. The big difference here is I've got 4 copies of Steel Leaf Champion here at the cost of trimming down my top end, so we're not playing the Black Cavalier anymore. So I've skewed my mana base up to 21 green sources. It might even be right to go to a 22nd. I wanted more bombs to play early, which is nice, because like Rotting Regisaur fast is one of the better things about this deck, so I like that this gives us more ways to do that. I've got a couple of Disfigures in the main, just because I think this removal spell is really good in the Llanowar Elf format, and also it scales okay into the late game because it basically acts as a combat trick. Like you can attack your guy into their bigger guy and like eat it inside of combat. The rest of the core is very similar. We're up to 3 Vivien Arkbow Ranger here, giving these things trample. Seems very good, and she's also just like a flexible pseudo removal spell, right? Like her -3 lets you kill things, so let's dive on into some matches and see if this feels reasonable like it did the other day still. This is fine. Like how we cut down to 3 swamps and our first hand is just like double swamp opener. I'm gonna keep that Steel Leaf Champion because I only need 1 more green source to cast it. Green source. All right. So what do I want to do here? I think it's just swamp plus Regisaur here, and then pass, and then probably ditch the Steel Leaf Champion at this point. Yeah, I missed a free point of damage, right? I could have played the land and attacked with this and they weren't going to block. Thank you for pointing that out. I think you are right. I did not update Stream Decker. I do not have the right file. I'll have to update Stream Decker after this match. Sorry. We're probably dead here. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to kill through this Rekindling Phoenix. This card's also been awkward. Our mana, so normally you want to play Rotting Regisaur as like your last card, and the fact that I had 2 swamps and a Steel Leaf Champion meant that I didn't have good plays, so I had to play it too early, and then it just chewed too many cards out of me. Ended up in a not ideal position. Definitely want these. I think I want the extra Disfigure. I'm mostly killing their creatures, so maybe I don't want these Assassin's Trophies. Giving them extra land seems less than ideal. Let's try this. On the draw, I might bring in Trophy and like cut the Nissa. A little bit unfortunate on our part. Like we kept a hand that had 2 swamps it, no Steel Leaf Champion, and then like immediately drew a Steel Leaf Champion. And maybe I'm supposed to scry it to the bottom, but it's like a pretty powerful card. I only need 1 more green source. This is fine. I need some lands, but we've got a number of those, and we get a scry here. We have a pretty good curve here if we hit some lands, right? We hit a green source, we get to go 1, 2, or 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't think so. In fact, without stretching the mana to play this, there aren't even any other good 3s, really. I looked a lot. I consider, like, you have, like, Nullhide Ferox and Ceradon, or Shifting, whatever it's called, as 4-drops, which are, like, okay. But 4 is a lot more than 3. Jadeblight's okay. She's like a good 3-drop, but she's not a very aggressive 3-drop. So I think that's not quite what I want to be doing. Now, post-board, they're almost certainly going to have Lava Coils in their deck too, so Seal Leaf Champion's not guaranteed to do better than getting 1-for-1 tier. So they're lands here. That's good for us.
This place to the ground.
So if I do this, this can block, but then I can't kill it, so that seems fine. So I plus there and then attack for 6. Yeah, I've got some Brontodons on the board. I don't know that I consider that card main deckable. So next turn I can fight something, and I can play Nissa plus on like a Temple and then Disfigure something after I declare attackers. So should be, this is like not quite a nuts draw because we didn't have a 1-mana play, but this is like pretty close to it. Like we curved out 2, 3, 4, 5 here on the play. And we're gonna do better than 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because on 5 we're gonna like do this and this. These effects where like they're just removal spells sitting there on the table can be like really demoralizing. Like Vivien's just like sitting here with like the threat of killing your thing, so like all of their plays that they're considering have to be taken into like, well, one of my things could be dying next turn. Yeah, that's fine. She's dead.
I'll return with larger predators.
If they have a removal spell here.
We will not fail. Harness the elements.
So, do I want to kill their Judith before blockers? I feel like I do, right? And then they're dead? Yeah, this is exactly 12. It's a pretty good curve on the play. Do I want Brontodon on the draw? So like I know Nissa and Vivien were both okay there, but I feel like on the draw in this matchup, those more expensive cards are probably going to be a little bit less good. So do I want some of this effect? I think so. The crazy just like trim one of each of these. That doesn't seem completely unreasonable. How is it more proactive than Midnight Reaper? You mean because it always draws cards? I don't know. I'm not even sure if I want Midnight Reaper in this deck, honestly. This is one of the slots I'm not completely sure on. I'm just not sure, like, what are the... Like, this could maybe turn into, like, a powerful 4-drop, like a Nullhide or a Ceradon. Something else that just, like, smacks people. Flash Wolf. I don't think Flash Wolf is good enough. I'm almost never going to be not casting a spell on my turn. I guess that's not strictly true. When I get to a point where I'm just like activating my knights and stuff, maybe that's fine. Maybe I should try Flash Wolf. Spawn of Mayhem is hard to... God, just these 3 swamps. Spawn of Mayhem is hard to cast in our 18 whatever deck. We have only 15 black sources. You donate for the return of Sultai Flash? Definitely. So, like, this can only be Disfigure or Shock, right? So we're just, like, not gonna let them use their mana this turn. And next turn, I just go, like, land Thorn Lieutenant. Unless they play a Dreadhorde Butcher. If they play a Butcher, we'll Disfigure plus Elf. Disfigure. Disfigure is such a clean answer to this, because it makes it a 0/0, so it doesn't do any damage. Yeah, I kind of like the idea. I like that Ceradon has haste. Yeah, we have 10 non-creature spells in our main deck, which might be a little too many for Nullhide Ferox to be very good. Hey, look, they had the Shock. Since we drew the 5th land here, I'm going to go ahead and probably wait to play Growth Chamber Guardian until I can play and activate it in the same turn. I mean, Pro Blue isn't really relevant against Nexus of Fate. You are watching Match 1, Game 1, or Match 1, Game 3. So still learning. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and trade here. This gets them closer to the 4th land drop they'd missed the previous turn, but I think it's right. If they like Slam Phoenix here, I can go land, activate Growth Chamber Guardian the same turn, which is nice. Oh, random number god. Yep. Alright, so not offering the trade this turn, I don't think. Hey, Adrian, thanks for the host. Hope you had a good stream today. You're a mod here? Like, sure you're a mod. You are already a mod. Look at that. Hope life's treating you well. It's been a while. Yeah, damage on the stack. We were talking earlier today about damage on the stack and like old kids get off my lawn and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure that's why it came up. Huh. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and play Growth Chamber Guardian here, but we're not going to activate it right away. Because if we activate it and my opponent kills it in response, it doesn't get to fully adapt, and then I don't get to go get a friend. So ideally, I would like for him to find a friend. And right now, my opponent is stumbling on lands, which means they're being less mana efficient than we are. So if we get them to not use their 3 mana this turn, that's a pretty big win for us. They could have a Shock here still, so that's going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass back to them. Still not activating because I don't want them to Shock in response. Now, I might activate this at their end of turn, even if they don't tap out fully. Hey, Noob Master, thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. For some salty flash, sounds good. It's possible that that's wrong, and I'm just supposed to pass back to my turn and eventually get to 6 lands so I can double activate it just because it's like my only remaining resource, basically. I think if they want to trade these, I'm fine with that. They can double block and trade this for this, which they might want to do. If I hit a land here, I can start activating Thorn Lieutenant. That's pretty good. Now they could have another Noxious Grasp here, which means we're just getting a 3/3 out of the deal. This pumps into a 3/4 or a 4/5, so wow, Nissa didn't die there. That's really good for us. Yeah, I don't have the correct deck file exported as a text, so you're gonna have to wait for Stream Decker. Huh, so I can activate this, and then I can plus Nissa on here. 2, 4, 5, and then I shock this in, and now I can attack with all of these. Now they can trade Phoenix off for one of my lands, but I think that's fine because like I'm threatening a lot of damage with these other ones. Yeah, and Nissa's a sweet piece of top end in this deck because of Thorn Lieutenant and Knight, we're able to leverage all of this extra mana that we have in an aggressive deck, which is something that you don't often get to do. So we're going to take 9 here and go to 5. And them going to 5 means that they're dead to a hit from either of these, which is nice. And they don't quite have lethal for Nissa on the backswing, which is good for us. That is one of the things I like about this deck is it has lots of things to do with its mana even when it's flooding a little bit because it has Thorn Lieutenant and Growth Chamber Guardian and Knight of the Ebon Legion. I don't think that's good enough, Kami Pizza. Like I want something like really big and chunky. Like I said, I feel like if I'm considering other slots, like the Midnight Reapers could be Ceradons, I think it's probably the other one. Which might be better, honestly. Just like having another big beater. I don't have that many 4s in this deck. There's only 6 cards that cost more than 3 at the moment, and I have Llanowar Elves, so like we can go a little bit higher. The fact that the pro blue dino is like a green haste threat is kind of sweet. I don't think this is salt. Like depending on how many they've been missing land drops, they probably have 3 spells in their hand, so they probably have a lot of permutations on how this combat step goes. I have to imagine this is not an easy choice. There's like the Nissa is like bearing down on top of them. And this Thorn Lieutenant's like lethal on its own, which is pretty good. Each of these Thorn Lieutenants were lethal on their own. If we draw another blank next turn, I'm probably just going to plus Nissa and pass. Just like continue to churn out 3/3s. Dreadhorde Butcher, yep. Because that's a blank, they're not dead, right? They'd go like block a 3/3, block a 3/3. I guess it puts them in a pretty medium spot because I would be killing both of these. Yeah, actually, maybe I'm supposed to attack them here. I don't know that I need Ripjaw. Like, Ripjaw is better against other aggro decks. And I feel like our deck's kind of okay against aggro. So if I attack like this, like what are the permutations? They could go like eat a 1/1, chump a 3/3, take 4, chump here. They could go eat a 3/3, chump here, eat a 1/1. I think I'm okay with most of these permutations, right? Because they're probably not killing this on the backswing. There's a good chance like both my 1/1s and a 3/3 die this combat step, but I think I'm okay with that. And them ending up at 3 is good for me because Nissa deals damage in chunks of 3, right? Jiaosu. Jiaosu is interesting. That's another dump for Nissa's mana. Huh. Maybe we should try that. I have 15 black sources, which like supports black okay on 4. It's like not great, but it's okay. Yeah, Blue-Red Friends ended up getting pushed back yesterday, and we played it today, Greek Yogurt. Oh, he has Menace, too. Yeah, I forgot he has Menace. It's like another pseudo-evasive card. Huh. Let's try that. I'm not married to these Midnight Reapers. Midnight Reapers seem kind of whatever. It's triple black to kick him. 4/5 Menace is like an okay stat line. What's the Hyper Geo on black on 4? On 4, I've seen 10 cards. We're 78% to have black on 4. We're 83 with a Scryland. That's probably fine. I like that it doesn't die to Lava Coil. 4/5s. 4/5s are nice. All right, Stream Decker's updated. Gosh, these basic swamps. I definitely can't cut to 2 swamps, though, if I'm going to be playing, if I want to play Jiaosu. Like, mathematically, we're fine to play this card. It's just annoying that we're hitting some bad openers like this. VI Rusted, thank you very much for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. All right, sweet, we hit it. Like, 22 green sources is like what you want to cast this card consistently, and we basically have 21 plus 4 Llanowar Elves. So, do I single spell or double spell here? I think I'm just supposed to single spell. I think I want to just try and get this down before they have, like, Wizard's Retort up. Ooh, that's a really good draw. So, I think I do this. Actually, you know what? I should have played Temple of Malady this turn instead of attacking with the Llanowar Elves. I sub to say that if you found a deck where kicking Jiaosu is realistic, that I'm getting back into Standard. I mean, we do have a lot of forests for Nissa. Yeah, I think I should have played the Temple tapped there instead of the Llanowar Elf attacking. That's not too big of a deal. We're on the board here early against Mono Blue. It seems like a good spot to be in. You like, basically just don't have to cast another spell this game. Yeah, I'm just not going to cast a spell. You have a Tempest Shin. Excellent. Excellent. Alright, so this is not a matchup where Jiaosu's very good, so let's go ahead and cut that. Nissa's certainly bad as well against the Spell Pierce deck. Vivien is probably not great as well. Cruelty could be fine. Disfigure is excellent. Veil of Summer seems fine. Trophy's good. I think I want these Duresses. I probably just want to, like, take my curve and pull it down as far as possible, right? This seems good. I think 3 pieces of 3 mana removal are probably too many. This leaves me 2 Cruelty, 3 Trophy, 3 Disfigure, and then a pair of Duress and a pair of Veil. So I don't want to board in too much interaction because I do want to actually be killing them too. So this leaves me like 24 creatures, 24 lands, and then some interaction. How good is Regisaur here? Great. How do they beat a 7/6? Fast 7/6, just like runs them into the ground. Great. Yeah, he's been good so far, Marty. We cast him on turn 2 that game and ran Mono Blue over, so that felt good. Is there a reason to have Trophy over Noxious Grasp? I'd encourage you to read Noxious Grasp. I'm gonna bottom that. I've got plenty of threats. Let's just like try and find like a Duress or a Veil of Summer or something like that to like be a little bit interactive here. Is this the nope, no Curious Obsession, that's good. Alright, welcome to the Space Jam. Enjoy your stay. You have a 2/2. Enjoy. Yep. Alright, well, we're definitely just jamming a 5/4 next turn. We don't have time to, like, play around counter spells. Also, holding the 2-drop could mean that, like, if we hit another 2-drop, we could have a double spell turn quickly. And, actually, I just play the 7/6, right? Because it's a faster clock. Nah, I'm gonna do this. Playing this as your first threat is almost always bad because it chews through your hand. You want this to be the tail end of your curve, not the front end. So we really like to draw another 2-mana spell or a 1-mana spell next turn so I can generate a double spell turn. One of the best ways to kill the mono blue deck is to kill them while they have cards in their hand because Curious Obsession keeps the cards flowing for them. So we want to just keep pressuring and pressuring and pressuring here ideally. That is not an ideal draw. Let's start by attacking. See if they have a Trickster. If they have a Trickster, we just like slam Regisaur. So, what do we think of just passing here? Nah, I really don't. Is it just Jam Regisaur? I think it's just Jam Regisaur. I'm winning the race, so. I'm winning the race on board. So if, like, Regisaur doesn't resolve, I'm still winning the race on board. And if it does resolve, we're really winning the race on board. And then, like, if this resolves and we have to discard a card next turn, we'll bin the second one and then have, like, Cruelty plus Lieutenant. Yep. Well, like, so it's not fully waiting. They have an unsummon. Brutal. I could have, like, Nixilis Cruelty there. So, like, I'm not just passing and not using my mana, but, like, Nixilis Cruelty loses to, like, dive down on other 1-mana plays, which is, like, not ideal. Alright, we are officially losing the race. And they have a Tempest Shin plus a protection spell here. We are dead. Yeah, I think there was a pause there, so they either have an opt or a dive down. I think we're dead either way. Doing this now, because if they untap, they get to have access to negate. If this resolves, I get to play Knight out here, and then, like, if I draw a land, Knight plus Steel Leaf Champion are a lethal attack next turn. But that being said, the Tempest Shin is killing me. Oh, it gets a counter, so I don't even technically need to draw a land. That being said, they've got some chump blockers here, so we're probably dead. Need to, like, rip another removal spell for the Tempest Shin. Like Merfolk Trickster or something here. I assume we have Merfolk Trickster or something here, like some kind of flash blocker. In my experience playing Black-Green last season, Vraska was cut due to being slow, but I feel as of recent, she's fine in the sideboard as another non-creature on-board removal. So, I think Vraska just isn't good enough in this deck because we have a lot of mana sinks in our deck, which means that because we have so many mana sinks, sacrificing lands to Vraska isn't something that's super profitable for us to be doing. And in general, she's kind of slow and clunky. So I think she ends up being worse than Vivien 4 a lot of the time for us. This hand's not amazing, but it's fine. We get to hopefully scry into a land here. We've got 3 shots to find a third land here on the play. And even if we miss on the land, like we've got some castables, but again, casting this on 3 would be ideal. Ralphie Poo, thank you for the 12-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Yeah, Spectral Sailor here, yep. No obsession is good news for our hero. Say hello to my not so little friend. Hey, thanks for that. Thanks for the support, and there's the link crooker. I think I'm binning that. I'm gonna disfigure Merfolk Trickster. I'm gonna trophy the Jhin. I'm gonna smack them for 9. Hey, Alec, thanks for the 3-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Like I said, turn 3 Rotting Regisaur often means you discard 2 cards. Turn 4 or 5 is generally ideal, but our opponent has a hard time dealing with these, so unless they find Entrancing Melody here, we should be in a pretty good spot. They need, like, Land Melody. And just be playing whatever we draw off the top. Regisaur does make adapting this a little bit awkward if we don't have 5 mana, just because we have to discard what we find at the upkeep, which sucks, but yeah, Swamp's going bye-bye. This card is a little bit awkward against Unsummon if they're playing that card. Like when our hand's empty during our upkeep, they can respond to the trigger by bouncing it. Yeah, there's no full art for this card. All the cards that have full art options in this deck, I have full arted. Hopefully this tank here is good for us. And this could be a matchup that we could just very easily make better by, like, playing 2 Ceradons if we feel like it's hard. I feel like I'd be kind of surprised if it's too difficult, but Ceradon's just, like, a generically good card that just, like, randomly dunks this matchup, so it might be worth playing. We're trying a pair of Jousus, but they could easily be Ceradons. I cut the Black Cavalier because I wanted to fit Steel Leaf Champion in, and the mana doesn't work to play both of those cards. Untapped land here would be good, so I can activate this and then play its copy. Hey, Scrubs, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. So if they have a dive down here, they can eat my Growth Chamber Guardian. Alright, that's a gain 7. I mean, this land draw here means we might even be okay if they have unsummon, just because they're going to 7 here, and like I have another 4/4 to put out, right? Hey, Croaker, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. If they can keep this Tempest around for another turn, they can trade it with the Rotting Regisaur on the line, which is probably their ultimate goal. Yeah, Spectral Sailor has Flash. Card's really sweet. Yep. Wonder if we'll see Merfolk Trickster here or unsummon. They could just have another Tempest. Pteramander. It only has one thing. Nobody blink. Nobody blink. How do we feel about just not... Oh, I'm going to get it, but I'm not going to play it. I'm going to get it, but not cast it, so we can discard it next turn, because I think this card probably lets us win the game. I'm going to have 3 lethal attackers next turn. So, like, outside of, like, a copy of Sleep, we should be good here. Oh, Sleep targets a player, right? So this counters Sleep. Yeah, we're trying Steel Leaf Champion today with a little bit lower curve overall. Fatal Roundhouse. Slow ride, take it easy. Boo doo doo doo. Doo doo. Doo 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 doo. This deck feels like a healthy mix of like interactive while still being proactive, which is kind of what I like to do in Standard. Red-black was a hot mess today. We just like constant mulligans, missing colors. It was not a good scene. 2-color. Having 12 dual lands in 2-color decks feels so good. Having 12 dual lands in 2-color decks is a treat. It's one of the draws to this over something like red-black in my mind. I get that added level of consistency. Yeah, and it's got a lot of tricks in it. Like the fact that like all your different creatures have activated abilities gives you a lot of lines every turn. The figuring out the correct sequencing on like the Regisaur, when you're supposed to jam, when you're supposed to hold it back. Reasonable percentage plays. Okay. I mean, these would probably be better as Ceradons, but I don't think I can mulligan this. Hopefully we just hit a black source here. No, it's just a beater. Perfect. Just a big dumb beater. Now, the fact that these are legendary kind of sucks. Can't have 2 in play at once. Karn's Bastion in the Citadel deck. Interesting. I don't think they can play any 3-drops that I'd want to trophy, so I'm just going to put this into play tapped. The menace on this is interesting. It's not quite trample, but I like evasion. Yeah, this gives the 7/6 trample, which is like pretty good. Target creature you control explores. You may play an additional land this turn. That's cute. People were asking me about changes from yesterday. I added a singleton Carnage Tyrant to the sideboard to have something to fetch against control with Vivien. I don't know if that's good. It's like an individually powerful card that I'd probably board in some situations, so it seems like a low cost add. There is a red no emote. It's hard to get a circle and the word no in there, so we just have a glowing red no.
From the smallest ant to the largest hydra, nature is beautiful.
Maybe I'm just supposed to crank this up to a 3/4, so that way if they have a single removal spell, they don't have good attacks on my Vivien. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to stack 2 counters here that turn. Because if they have a single removal spell for my Joustu, they then have good attacks on my Vivien. Hey, Adam, thanks for the 2 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. I also have a pair of Brontodons on my sideboards. Like, if they have another Citadel, I could find that with Vivien at some point, too. I think I'm pretty happy with this deck. There's a couple of last couple slots I'll probably think about tonight, but I'm probably going to submit this for the Thursday tournament. I have to submit a deck by tomorrow morning, so... Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So they had a good exile there, so they get like a good attack on my Vivien. And if this was a 3/4, they wouldn't have a good attacker. They'd have to give up a creature to kill my Vivien.
Time to disappear into the brush.
The Karn's Bastion's actually kind of scary here. They've got a bunch of creatures with 1/1 counters on them. We're 3 mana away from Joustu Vest being able to be kicked. I don't know if that's going to be a route that we're going to be able to realistically take this game. If we flood a little bit, we might explore going in that direction. Arkbow's interesting. I feel like we're probably dead here. They're gonna just like whip up explore creatures. I don't know if Joustu would have been better or worse than a Ceradon there. Maybe it would have been a little bit better because I would have been able to deploy 2 threats before committing Vivien to play, which probably would have been ideal. I definitely want Noxious Grasp. I think I probably want another trophy here. What do we think of? What do you think of Disfigure? Disfigure kills their explore creatures in response to their trigger, which is nice. It doesn't kill... doesn't kill Wild Growth Walker, though. They're probably a Llanowar Elves deck, right? So it kills that. Maybe I trim Joustu to bring my curve down here. This might just be too much removal on the plate, too. I wish there was another good, like, value. I wish there was, like, another good value, too, I could play. Swamps and Steel Leaf Champions. Yeah, I might cut the Joustus just so I could, like, cut a swamp. 14 black is probably plenty. Because, again, I'd like to play this before I play this. I want this to be, like, my tail end threat so I can get my hand empty. Perfect. Vivien putting counters on Growth Chamber lets it go find friends, which is nice. Feels like a cast down or a trophy, so I'm not going to activate this in response. If I activate it, they're going to kill it. I also just want to, like, be committing a second threat to the board here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Steel Leaf Champion die, but then, like, Growth Chamber's not dying, so that seems fine for me still. I said I wouldn't mind more value 2-drop, something that's, like, aggressive, but, like, also, like, having another play there on the curve. Like, these 4s are kind of clunky. Hey, Kino Shine, thanks for the 14 months. I appreciate the continued support. Welcome back. So next turn, I can Regisaur plus Disfigure, or I can Vivien. We'll see what they play here. I'm looking for proactive 2-mana plays, not reactive 2-mana plays. So cast down's a reactive 2-mana play.
Nature will take back what rightfully belongs to it. We're gonna tear you apart.
Someone else had mentioned Barkhide. I don't know what that card does. I feel like I should. Someone mentioned it yesterday. It gives itself like hexproof, right? Barkhide Troll, an extra field 1/1 counter, remove a counter against hexproof till in turns. Like it's a 3/3 for 2 that can protect itself from a removal spell. I don't know if that's good enough. So I'm going to put 2 counters on here. And then I'm going to go Regisaur plus Growth Chamber Guardian. And then during my upkeep next turn, I can Disfigure in response to this discard trigger. Oh, Barkhide is cute with Vivien. Yeah, it could just be something like Branchwalker, honestly. Fathom Fleet Captain requires other pirates. Freebooter is just a little bit of disruption, could be okay too. Incubation Druid has some synergy, but at the same time, like, I'm not really ramping into anything huge other than activated abilities. So, response to my discard trigger, Disfigure your thing. Ooh, Flash Death Touch Pirate is some outside the box thinking. Knight of Malice is just a 2/2. Flash Death Touch Pirate might not be bad. I feel like I want some more ways to kill a Wild Growth Walker that's explored on the draw. So I probably want at least one more trophy in my deck here. Nissa's probably a little bit slow. Let's leave one of her in. Bring these other trophies back in. I like Death Touch Pirate because it's like a pseudo removal spell. I like proactive removal spells, and like Vivien does that really well. Barkhide might also just be good too. Barkhide, I mean, Merfolk Branchwalkers probably. I like the consistency you gain from exploring is valuable. Oh, yeah, Death Touch works well with Vivien. Because Vivien has the creature deal the damage. It's a card you can flash in response to the discard trigger. That's true, too. Maybe that's the ticket. I could see that. Yeah, this is fine. I wish I had an untapped Black Source on one, but definitely a reasonable hand. I think I'm gonna bottom that. I'm kind of choked on black mana here, so I'd like to find like a 2-drop green spell so I can like Noxious Grasp plus play Night on plus play and then do a Night 2-drop on 2. I don't think Dreadhorde Invasion is very good. No. Second Regisaur. Yikes. Second Regisaur is probably like okay here, but Second Regisaur definitely means that this Nissa is going to get discarded before we play it. So like, will these carry me, basically, is the question I want to ask myself. No box. We're doing all right. I think this is going to be the winner for Thursday. I don't really have a lot of testing time left, and it's been fun-ish, kind of unique, kind of aggressive. It's like most of the things I look for in a deck. They have a cast down. This is rough. They get 2 for 1 tier. It's the danger of this card. Yeah, double black cards are a little bit too rough, I think, Oucho. So they kept this on top, which could mean this is an explore creature, but if this is not an explore creature, keeping that on top seems really loose.
I protect that which cannot protect itself. Be wary of the ground you walk on.
I think if they want to trade Jade Light for Forest here, I'm okay with that, because Jade Light gets powered up from Karn's Bastion. Nothing else they have has counters on it at the moment. So they didn't have an Explore creature last turn. That's a Citadel. Am I dead? Yep. They hit a removal spell and just want to make me discard. I think we're probably done here.
The land shall conquer you.
Go ahead and pack it in. Let's play one more. I'm gonna cut these Jiaosus. I'll put in a couple Direfleet Poisoners. Still no foil on that one. That's so sad. Yeah, I don't think the Zombie Army enchantment's very good. The Direfleet Poisoner is pretty good against Skrull, too, because all their idiots are attacking. So it's basically a removal spell in that matchup, which I think is valuable. That's, like, fine in a lot of other places. The activation cost on that is too much. Death Touch on the 2/2 makes it like pseudo unblockable too, which is nice. Thanks everyone for hanging out today, by the way. I've been lazy about chilling today. If you're someone that's new, that's found my channel today because of the Magic section, thanks for dropping in. I stream Magic almost every day here on Twitch. We play a ton of different decks. If you're interested in more sweet decks after I sign off today, be sure to check out my website, magicesports.net. You can click standard decks at the top and find a whole bunch of not only deck lists, but also videos of me playing those decks, so you can get a feel for what the decks look like before you decide if you want to invest your precious wildcards in them. Basically, everything I stream every single day gets cut up and uploaded to my YouTube channel, cutting everything up by deck, so it's very easy to watch just the matches that you care about. I'm easily one of the most organized channels you'll find here on Twitch. Metalix, thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. While we're waiting for this person to happen, these people are great. Buy their stuff. These people, also great. Buy their stuff. Still waiting. Still waiting. Still waiting. Sounds like it's time for a fruit chill.
Don't make your life garbage time. Join us in Hoaglandia today by subscribing to Jeff Hoagland with Twitch Prime today.
Look at that. Perfectly timed. Don't have a black source, but this hand's a keeper. So the Felix Gray sponsorship dropped off. One of the companies I've been working to acquire Twitch sponsorships with that had like the on-screen integrations and stuff, they went out of business. So Felix Gray was one that I had picked up through there. So unfortunately that sponsorship didn't have a long shelf life. And then Felix Gray was supposed to reach out to work with me to set up something individual one-on-one, but the more I've learned that I work with different people, just so many people in this industry are just incredibly unprofessional. They just like stopped returning my emails. Just incredibly annoying and unprofessional on their part. You know, like, play their pirate counter on the way back down? Nope. All right. The fact that we're missing land drops here is a really big deal. We've also just drawn like. We're missing a... Oh, Magic just fucking sucks sometimes. I know I kept a hand without black mana, but we only had one black spell when we kept it. We actually just drew all black spells that game. It's an incredibly frustrating game there. We're going to trim some of our expensive top end here so we can bring in some cheaper spells against their lower to the ground deck. Alright, let's do it. I should have stopped playing when our deck was 2-0. Because if you play enough Magic, eventually your deck feels like it sucks. Because that's just how Magic works. Yeah, I am Griffinson. They all suck to a degree, right? Like even the stock tier 1 decks, like, don't draw lands and die sometimes. Like this deck's got 24 lands, it's got mana elves, it's got Skylands in it, it's fine. It's good enough. What am I bottoming here? It's probably a land. Yeah, you almost always remember the bad moments more than the good, so all the decks eventually feel terrible. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It could be the Veil of Summer just to like hit my land drops, but I also boarded out all of my cards that cost more than 3 mana, so being stuck on 2 with an elf in play is like probably fine. Throw the Overgrown Tomb to the bottom because my deck doesn't need double black mana. Would prefer not to shock. Technically, double pumping the Knight requires double black, but we're pretty far away from worrying about that. And by the time we're double pumping that, we'll probably have a second black source. I've played against the opponent's deck 4 times, and I still don't know what it does. They just concede when I play Teferi. Good. Doing the Lord's work. Rookie XP, thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I mean, if we don't have a second black source on 6 lands, it's probably not a big deal. Like, the cross-section of where we get punished for bottoming Overgrown Tomb is we drew 6 lands, we drew a Knight, and we didn't draw black source. So, like, that's a lot of things that have to happen for that to come up poor. Well, that's a pretty close pairing. We're 762, our opponent's 763. Battling for dominance. Down here in the bottom of the bracket. Opponent must have had something come up. They took a while to get opening hands in the first game. The winner will be 761, maybe. Usually the swings are bigger than that. Well, they don't have blue mana. This game will be about as close as the first one. This is why I could like when people play Magic as best of one, it just blows my mind. Like there are so many non-games in Magic that a lot of time you need to play best of 3 just so you get one non-crap game. Like I basically didn't play game 1. They haven't played this game, and maybe we'll both play game 3. Yeah, Steel Leaf's been pretty good today. I had the idea to add this last night just to be lower to the ground. I like kept looking over all the black-green aggressive 3-drops I could play, and this one jumped out at me. At least I got to cast a spell game 1, I guess. One of my best pieces of advice for people, and sideboarding intimidating is you're far from the only person to say that. There's a lot of people that feel that way. My best piece of advice for people that are struggling to sideboard is definitely practice sideboarding when you're not in games of Magic. So like when think about which matchups you care about and think about how you want to sideboard in those matchups. And if your ins and outs don't line up well, that means your sideboard's probably not constructed well. I feel like people often just like throw random cards in their sideboard and then try and figure it out inside of a match, and that's not the way you want to do it. At least not if you want things to work out well a lot of the time. In fact, what I will probably do tonight, if I'm going to play this in the tournament, is while I'm at the gym on the treadmill, I will go through all of the common matchups in this format and think about what my ins and outs look like to make sure my sideboard is good in the matchups that I potentially care about. So like, do things line up in Esper? Do things line up against Gruul? Do things line up against, mono red? Do things line up against Temur elementals? Like, try and make sure that I have equal numbers of ins and outs for those matchups. That way sideboarding is easy when I actually play the tournament. Sure. Hey, D20 Bandit. Catching us at the tail end here today. Is Temur Elementals a real deck? I don't know. I think if you can build that deck so it doesn't die to basic mountains, it's probably pretty real. But that's a question that people are gonna have to ask themselves. Like we haven't had a major tournament yet, and like the fandom thing on Thursday is basically like a 4K FNM. Like there's good players in it, but it's just 16 of us, so it's not really like a big tournament to define any sort of metagame. So like the SCG tournament happening this weekend and the Grand Prix the following weekend, those will be the big tournaments you want to keep your eye on for figuring out like what's good in a competitive sense in this format. Right on time, Llanowar Elves. Welcome to the party. Enjoy your stay. So I'm actually just going to play out my hands here. Because, again, I want to get my hand empty in preparation of jamming the Regisaur. Would you recommend this deck to someone who never draws turn 1 Llanowar Elves? I would recommend not playing Standard if you can't draw turn 1 Llanowar Elves. That would do this. This format is very much about playing this card on 1. If I'm being completely honest, One of the absolute best parts about my job is like Christy can walk in while I'm sitting down playing Magic, while I'm like playing Arena on the computer, and she'll be like, "What are you doing?" I'll be like, "I'm working. I'll be up in a second." All right. How do we feel? I definitely want to play 2 threats this turn. Which, I have to decide here, which of these threats would I rather get countered? I almost feel like Regisaur is the one I'd rather have countered, right? I feel like between my 2, I'd rather burn this, because I've got 2 reactive cards in my hand. So if this resolves, these are going to get discarded out of my hand, which I think is fine. And if this does resolve, I'll probably just pass the turn here so they don't get to use their mana. And if they counter this, which is likely to happen, we'll go land, Growth Chamber Guardian, crack you for 1. Then, like, they have no board, and we are on board, so we're in a pretty good spot. They're gonna need, like, Night Pack plus a 1 mana protection spell to stop Trophy from killing it. That's kind of a poopy draw. I'm gonna hold these up, because I don't really want to attack them into anything here. I don't think I want to play either of these into a counterspell here, because again, I can't generate a double spell turn this turn. So next turn we'll jam, because like I can do 2 things at once, which is ideal. In fact, next turn, this turn they're pretty likely to play a threat. So I can do 3 things this turn, like 3 2 mana spells. So if they play a fish here, we'll go like disfigure your fish, play another Growth Chamber Guardian, play my tap land. Night Pack Ambusher. This is fine. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and do this now. So this way, if they have Spell Pierce, I get to play around Spell Pierce. They have to have Dive Down here. I guess this does give them a 2nd mana, so they can counter this if they want. But I also think that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and play this out here. And like another Scatter. Yeah, Trophy sounds great. Like, their way back into this game involves another, like, big threat like a wolf, so. Next turn I'm attacking for up to 12, which is exciting. I also like Disfigure plus double fart, which is nice. Yeah, I hope they round out the Scrylands in the fall. That would be ideal. Between the Scrylands and the London Mulligan, we did a good carving up of the variants this game has in it, which is nice. I could have like proactively disfigured this, but I don't think I really want to do that. Do we have an unsummon here? Sure. You're just gonna like cast 2 spells? I'm out of friends, right? Yeah. Excuse me. I don't really know what our record is, so I don't really keep track of that. But this deck felt really good. I've enjoyed playing it a lot. They're probably dead even without this Disfigure, but the Disfigure should definitely lock it up. They only have one card in their hand, so like even if their last card's like another creature that can flash in and jump block here, the Disfigure means they're taking at least 4 inside of combat. If you have good ideas for things that the last 2 slots could be, I think I'm happy with everything except the 2 Flash Pirate slots, which Flash Pirate might be fine. Feel free to shout them at me on Discord later, subs. Remember, if you're a sub who's not in the Discord, you're missing out. Get on in there. Yeah, the opponent's deck seems sweet. It's something that, what's his name? Martin Yuza, as well as Nox had been playing. You know, Discord installed. Good thing it's free. Good thing it's free. All right, who else is on that we can give a host to? Looks like Allie's on. Perfect. Bernie Sanders is streaming. Should we host Bernie Sanders? Do you think that's something we should do? That seems like a good troll. Feel the bird. Wait, did I win that? No, we went up, right? All right, let's go ahead and host Ellie. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember, if you want more stuff for myself, check out my website and my YouTube channel, and hopefully catch all y'all around tomorrow. I'll be playing the Modern in the morning with the draft tournament tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll be playing Underlords into the fandom tournament on Thursday. So catch everyone around. Have a good one.